let me help us understand this. When you begin to study what we call assets and values of nation, you'll find out that when you look at the assets and values of nation, there are few indices or index that is used to calculate or to value the wealth and the value of a nation. One of them is human capital. Human capital. The next is natural resources. The next is production and production capacity. And then you have foreign reserves. So number one is what? Human capital. So when you are really looking at how valuable or how strong a nation is, you look at their human capital. How developed is the mind and the humans of that nation? And that's really the wealth of any nation. Now the next thing is, what are the natural resources that they have? How rich are they in natural resources? And the ability to harness that natural resource in order to be able to come into a place of production. The next is, how productive is that nation? Because you hear things like third world nation, and God didn't create more than one world. So nations are not rated as a result of their creation, they are rated as a result of their production. So when you are a productive nation, you are in the first world. When you are a consumer nation, you are said to be in the third world. Why? Because you are more of a consumer than a producer. And then the world also wants to know your value as a result of your foreign reserves. So if you are a nation and you have resources, then one of the proofs that you have resources is that resource is shown. You have reserves, in foreign reserve, that can show that, okay, this country, they have these, and with this we are sure that they are good to go. Because if these things are not in place, then it shows that you are not as strong and as valuable as you are supposed to be. So if we understand then that human capital is one of the major assets, as a matter of fact, the number one asset of any nation. Go do your research. The number one asset of any nation is their human reserve. Their human capital. If that therefore is the truth, it means that every time quality people, every time professionals, every time educated people, every time skilled people leave a particular geography to another geography, wealth has left. Hello? Now let me help you understand it from Bible so that I will help your religious mind. When the children of Israel left Egypt, did they carry Egypt with them? No. But when they left, the Bible says Egypt fell. Now why will Egypt fall? Because some people left. Because when they left, wealth left. Because they were the wealth. Do you understand? So it's not about what you have. You can have crude oil and still be poor like Nigeria. Do you understand now? You can have all the natural resource and not be able to produce. So the real wealth of any nation is the human capital. So whenever we have this brain drain, we are actually depleting our wealth, and the depletion of our wealth is now becoming the benefit of many other nations. I'm taking time to explain this because this issue is very critical. It's a destiny decision and you need to have clarity. So that's why I'm not rushing. I want to take us step by step so that we'll get this clarity, and then you get the tape, you listen to it over and over again, because I know the importance of this decision in the life of people, and I also know the danger of this decision. Now, when we talk about people leaving, you need to understand that we can be strategic as a nation and use Japa to our advantage as a nation, if we understand how to harness it. So I give you an example. Many times we talk about nations like India, we talk about nations like China, we talk about Singapore, we talk about a lot of nations that have been able to take themselves out of a place of poverty and bring themselves into the forefront of development and wealth. So let's take Singapore, for example. Many of us have heard the story of from the third world to the first world, and we know of the man that was used as a pioneer, or the father of Singapore, Lee Kuan Yew. He wrote a book. But if you study the concept of Singapore, you will realize that Jack Ma was the secret of Singapore. Now, the secret of Singapore was We are a third world nation, but we don't want to remain a third world nation anymore. So what is it that these other nations have that we don't have? What is it that they know that we don't know? So they gathered all the young citizens of the nation and they shared a vision with us. Say, you know what, guys? We want you to go to all the best universities in the world. The government will sponsor you. Any school you want to go to, free scholarship for everybody. But we are sending you as ambassadors of Singapore. We are sending you as missionaries of Singapore. Go. And when you are going, go as a missionary. Learn everything you need to learn and return so that we can change Singapore. And guess what? They left, they learned, they returned, and they changed Singapore.